This is a 24-volt battery bank being charged from a single solar panel, wired up through, coming up through, going into my converters, running light. This is grid tie. This is backup power. There and there. Wires coming in. Wires going to battery up here. The green and white and the red and black are 24-volt coming through. You can actually see my amp meter. It is flickering for the amount of power that it is being fed back into my household. This is off my grid tie. This does not mean it is going into the grid, because this is a 1,000-watt grid tie inverter, and right now I am using 400 kilowatt an hour. This is only 1,000 kilowatt an hour, so I still have 3 kilowatt an hour coming from the grid. All I'm doing now is cutting down on the amount of electricity that I am taking from the grid. I am not feeding back. The only way I could feed back is if I turn my complete household, everything off in the house, include hot water heater, air conditioner, well, anything that would run off of normal electricity. Then it would feed back into the grid. But until then, that will never happen. I will always pay a light bill, but I can reduce that light bill from $800 to down to about $200 in a matter of 2 months. So this is the system that's going in. I have 13.8 volts coming off of a small 15 amp or 15 watt solar panel, only for trickle charge and to maintain my backup battery. That's all that's for. That's just one small solar panel. There will be eventually 2 of these inverters installed, and then they will be 2,000 watts less that I am pulling from the power company. That's how it works. People actually think that you're going to be feeding power back into the grid. You will not feed power back into the grid unless you have a double action meter. It will not do it. But this will allow you to use this converter as part of your household power. Don't mislead all of these power solar panels input, because all of it is not right. You would have to have at least 40,000 watts to run a house of this size without air conditioning, and then you might be able to put a couple hundred watts back into the grid. Other than that, it's just not feasible. It's not practical. You can't spend that kind of much money, because if you're like me, you don't make that much money. It would cost probably $400,000 to get a system up that big and running, so it's not worth it. But you can reduce your power bill, and it does reduce your power bill if you just add a couple 1,000-watt inverters with 2 100-watt solar panels to run each converter during the daylights. And if you want to add a little bit more for the little bit of use you use, then you put in a battery bank system. This system has been running now for about approximately 5 hours and I still have 23.1 in the batteries, in the battery bank. Now these are super deep cycle batteries. They were made for solar systems. They're very expensive. They weigh about 150 pounds a piece. So you can just imagine what kind of money you would pay for these batteries. Yeah, about 550 bucks a piece. to be exact. So you don't want to buy too many of those. You want to use these as a backup system to help you while your power is out. And also when the power goes out, even though you have battery power, this inverter here will no longer produce any power at all. If the grid goes down, this inverter, this tie inverter, grid tie inverter, will go down too. It will not produce power. Even though you have power connected in, no power will come out. That's the way they are. They're smart grid ties. If the power goes down, the grid goes down, the converter goes down. That way a lineman can't get electrocuted by getting power put back to the old power lines. But so for to speak, these 24-volt batteries help provide power for this in lower sunlight, which is great because they will charge right back up as soon as the sun comes out. And if I need backup power, then I have 2 backup power units. This unit here is running this light off of the 24-volt system along with grid tie. So there, you can use multiple units on single systems. Yes, the batteries will die quicker by using both. If you turn this off, then you get more life out of the battery. If you turn this off, you get more life out of the battery. But this one, even if you were just running off of the battery, those batteries would last approximately 48 hours, putting 1,000 watts back into my system. So on a single charge, they will last about 48 hours with this grid tie inverter. With this inverter, it will last approximately 10 to 12 hours, depending on the amount of power you are pulling through the converter. Now these are not inverters, these are converters. These convert 12 volt into 110. So there you have it, folks. We'll get the update when we get more solar panels and more inverters tied in, and we'll start checking on our electric bill and see how good she drops. Alright, till then, later.